So hi, welcome to Anchor Reviews. It's just me, Tyler, this time from Anchor Reviews on an episode of After the Credits on Anchor Reviews. And this is my review of Tron Ares. So Tron Ares is the third film in the now Tron trilogy of movies. Now, the first Tron movie, I've always liked it, never loved it. I can understand why it gained a cult following, and it's pretty impressive how that movie, which was a failure upon its release, became a franchise. And if you want to read more about the history of that movie or any other live action Disney movie that was a box office failure, then I highly recommend checking out my book, Disney's Live Action Movie Bombs, 1979 2019. It's available both in ebook digital and print. And also, I recommend my other book, 100 Years of Universal Monster Movies, also available in ebook digital and in print. So as for the sequel, Tron Legacy, I can understand why it has a big fan base. I really do like the first half of that movie. I just felt like it kind of prematurely kind of got winded in the first half, and then by the second half, it kind of just felt okay as a film. So in this one, Tron Ares, it's about an AI named Ares, played by Jared Leto, who's created by the grandson of Dillinger, who was played by David Warner in the first movie. So this time we have his grandson, who's played by Evan Peters, and he is trying to make this artificial intelligence that has created kind of like a 3D printer from kind of the Tron-esque world into the real world, and to make them applicable for military combat. Meanwhile, you do have Greta Lee's character as Eve Kim, who was from NCOM and is trying to do right with that legacy that Jeff Bridges' character played from the previous movies by trying to do something that will help mankind, opposed to the Dillingers, who are trying to create weapons that are going to cause problems. So overall, Ares is a character who does kind of learn gradually what it means to be human in this story. Kind of like the Pinocchio story they even mentioned at one point is like, oh, you're just basically Pinocchio, want to become a real boy, metaphorically in a way. So with Tron Ares, I can understand why people are iffy about this movie and why it didn't do that well financially. However, I found myself enjoying it. I'm not saying that it was as good as the first one, or in ways I do think Legacy is a little bit better than this one, but it definitely had its moments. There are moments in this film too where I felt like some of the comedy fell a little bit off. I've noticed that the Seth Flores, played by Artho Castro, I'm sorry if mispronouncing that name. I feel like his scenes, he was obviously just there as the comic relief for the most part. And also there are other side characters who are part of the NCOM employees that felt like they were just there or there to like just conveniently resolve certain things in the story later on. As for Ares, I did like the idea of this character who knows nothing but combat, who's basically been created just to, just keep getting killed and then coming back to try to become a better fighter. It kind of reminds me of the Doomsday character from the Superman comics, who has a similar origin story like that. And I do like the idea of how the main character does struggle with his humanity and what it feels to be human, and there's a nice moment of him with the rain, how he interacts with it and how unique it is, that sensation and other programs like him. In terms of the actor who plays Ares, I think Jared Leto did a fine job as Ares. As for the actor who plays Ares, I think Jared Leto did fine. I just wish that in the real world we could reprogram Jared Leto to, allegedly, stop creeping on girls who are not necessarily of the age yet. Allegedly. Also, I really did appreciate Jeff Bridges coming back in this movie. I can understand why people were iffy about Bruce Boxleiter not coming back in this one. They didn't ask him, but then again, it wasn't like he was really that needed to be in this story necessarily. I mean, this movie already had a lot of callbacks to the first Tron movie, a little bit too much at times. I really did like the part where they do go to the Tron world where Jeff Bridges' character is from, and they did a great job of making the visual look of Tron in the way how it looked in terms of how they shot in the way how they did back in the 1980s when they originally shot it, and the visual graphics, the bit characters in it too, and even some of the framing of certain establishing shots look like they were directly taken from the first Tron movie, which I did like. I did jokingly say to myself when I saw Jeff Bridges' character with the beard and wearing white in that, I was like, hey look, it's The Giver. I love the book, but I was disappointed with that movie adaptation. Everyone, at least the main characters, like the kids, they were just way too old, and it contradicted what the story really was about. So I'm going to give a bit of a spoiler here, and if you don't want to hear it, then just stop the video right now. But towards the end of the movie, there is definitely a hint of a sequel to this one, where they hint at the very least, what I will reveal is that the two main characters from Tron Legacy, that Jared Leto's character is trying to reconnect with them and trying to find them, which I did like that part. So as for Tron Ares, it is a visually impressive movie for what it is. I don't think it's as bad as some people are making out to be, but I will agree that it is the weakest of the trilogy of the Tron movies. So as for Tron Ares, I would give it about 2.5 stars out of 4. But I definitely recommend checking this out in IMAX. It is visually impressive as a movie, is one of the strengths of it. But I did think the audio was a little bit too loud, especially with how much bass there was. There were times where I felt like I was in a nightclub with this movie because of the soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails. So anyway, this is Tyler from Anchor Reviews, and I hope you enjoyed this video of After the Credits on Anchor Reviews, and I hope to make a lot more in the future. Please like and subscribe.